So if you're into the diet and fitness scene at all, you may have heard of something called the sugar diet, which is getting pretty popular. There seems to be a lot of creators on the internet trying this out and making videos on it. I just thought it was timely for me to throw my 2 cents in about it. So I've watched quite a few of these videos as part of my research. And there seems to be a common theme with the people that try this, that they seem to always feel hungry or they need to constantly fuel up on this refined sugar. So I just wanted to dive in a little bit on that and keep this nice and quick. Basically, anything refined is almost completely nutritionally void. A lot of people have been using cane sugar as more of a healthy option. The worst ones are just using straight up like white sugar, brown sugar, confectionery sugar. They're eating pretty much just pure junk. Let me just explain the premise of this diet a little bit first. Basically, the whole idea is you're going to spend the whole day eating as much sugar as you feel you need to keep topping up your energy levels. And because a lot of this is refined sugar, that's going to be a constant thing to keep getting in. Keeping the fat low, the ceiling that's recommended is 30 grams per day, which is pretty low, but I don't think the nominal number matters that much. It's more about a percentage of calories. That's how I prefer to measure fat intake and all the other macros for that instance. So keeping the fat low, sugar all day, and then at night time for like your last meal is when you want to have your fat and protein source. If you choose to. If not, don't worry about it. But that's what I've seen people doing on this diet. So everyone seems to have their own little take on it and their own little interpretation and implementation. But here's how I would do it. So as I said, all these people are focusing on refined sugars and they constantly feel hungry, never satiated. They have decent energy, but they have to constantly keep up this refined sugar intake. When things are refined and they enter the bloodstream or the body, it's basically acting as a stimulant. Because there's no other nutritional value, there's no calories, this is the definition of a junk food. As I said, it acts as a stimulant in the body. So you're going to feel this high, this instance of energy that isn't going to last long, and then you feel like you need another hit. It's kind of like someone who's addicted to coffee or cocaine or any other drug, really. My suggestion would be to get your sugar sources from whole food, plant-based carbohydrates, such as fruit. Feeling satiated has got more to do with the volume you eat more than anything else. So when you eat fruit, it's got a lot of water-soluble fiber that's going to keep you satiated, and it's going to trigger that leptin signal, which is the hormone that signals to your brain that you're full now and tells you to stop eating, basically. This works even better when you're eating a mono meal, say of all bananas or all mangoes. Your body is going to tell you when to stop eating at pretty much the perfect time. And if you get this right through practice and repetition, and once your stomach begins to expand and become more elastic, this will become second nature and you won't feel the need to snack and constantly top up. Sugar is just like any other inorganic mineral. It's designed to be used in conjunction with other chemistry to provide a whole food and nutritional source for us to consume. It's like salt. Probably one of the most used condiments that man uses. It's not the salt we need per se. The salt is inorganic, as I said. The salt is designed for the plants to uptake in the soil, and then we eat the plants as the source of our sodium and salt and all that other stuff. It needs to be used together in a cocktail to be considered proper nutrition. So that's pretty much it. Instead of smashing refined sugar Focus on whole plant-based sources where you're going to get everything together, the water, the carbohydrates, all the other minerals, the micronutrients. You're going to have way more energy. You're not going to need to eat as often. You're going to feel more satiated, and it's just a lot more healthy overall. So that's pretty much all I wanted to mention. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Just one more thing that I'll mention, touching on the fat again. This diet has got it right in the way that you do want to keep the fat low. I did mention that the nominal number isn't really of much importance. You need to look at it in the bigger picture. What do your macro splits look like in relation to calories? So when you maximize the sugar, no matter if it's refined sugar or the whole food plant-based sources, you want to keep the fat low. So blood sugar isn't a problem that is ongoing. You don't want chronically elevated blood sugar. That's diabetes. The sugar is going to exacerbate it. I've mentioned this before, but it's really the dietary fat that lingers around in the bloodstream that causes the blood sugar to stay elevated. Fruit sources of sugar aren't going to spike the blood sugar like refined sugar because of the water-soluble fiber. It takes longer to diffuse through the digestive system and into the bloodstream. And it's going to be uptaken by the cells, and then the blood sugar is going to slowly normalize and stay constant. If there's too much fat in the blood, then it's going to stop the sugar from entering the cell. It's kind of like a roadblock. All the doors are locked. It's going to try every which way to get out of the bloodstream, but it just can't. And that's when blood sugar and sugar itself is bad, and that's why it gets demonized. So super important if you're trying to up your sugar intake, ideally through fruit sources, then keep the fat low. Otherwise you're going to have problems. Okay, that's all for now. See you later.